That's all. Did you just hit your head? You know that sensation you're feeling right now after you hit your head on that hardwood where you feel like you're a little bit dumber? Think about all the people who used to sit here. You may have, brought Go Chop Tom into your church and ambushed him into agreeing to God knows what. But I got the fucking House of Parliament. Alright, our next reader tonight. I keep saying reader as if this is church. It's not church. Feels like it because of all the saints. Alright, so our next, shall I call you a performer?
The person.
Yeah, our next person who gives good head. Will you please, I have a personal story about, her name is Adrianna Tan. You can clap now. I have a personal story. Adrianna is the reason that I motherfucking got, addicted to fucking Uber. True story. Adrianna's going to be reading something. I suspect she's reading off her phone, so this is going to be really interesting, / maybe not. I don't know. It's going to feel very, very, technological. Will you please welcome to the stage, Adrianna Tan!
It was really tall for me, but I'm going to try not to flash everyone as well.
Please.
Alright, so, yeah. So I'm going to be reading something which is a bit of a mashup because I'm all about tech and subculture. So some of you might have read or seen some of the stuff I've written or identify some of it in here. So Yi-Sheng initially asked me to read because he said, oh, 10 years ago you're reading at the first ContraDiction, which just made me feel really old. But I was like, all right, fine. So I'm going to read something which has been known by several other names, but in this form it's just called my Lesbian Tender series. So, at 18, I certainly believed that I knew everything, but I did not know just how much it would hurt this boy's heart if I told him the inevitable, that I was in love with someone he could never be, a woman. We went to our favorite bar and we sat glumly, while he tried to drink away his pain and anger. At that time, it felt as though life simply led me into various unforeseen encounters, and at turns dramatic and at others explosive, as if I were but a mere spectator. The woman I loved at the time walked into the bar. I stole a glimpse. I could not look away, and even without saying anything at all, he knew it was her. She met the man she was to marry the evening after I left. Part 2. There was a girl that I noticed in a coffee shop. I liked her pants and her hair, and it helped that I sat at a coffee shop every day nursing a cigarette, because that was what I did when I was young and stupid. She would walk by and I would try to find out who she was. Every day we passed each other in a little corridor at a coffee shop. I don't remember how, but she agreed to come on a date with me. We went to a place that I still go to, then on a 46-day backpacking trip to India. I bravely led the way. At the second week, we were at the Taj Mahal. We waited to see the sunset because I thought it would be good to attend a romantic gesture sometimes. But as the sun set over Agra, I reached for her hand, and she pushed it away. And then we broke up at the Taj Mahal, which is fitting because we had also fallen in love at the Angkor Wat. From one wonder to another, she still could not erase the shame that she felt from being with a woman, even in a country where nobody knew her name. The next 30 days were epic and vengeful, full of sadness and train schedules. The woman I loved 4 years ago did not marry the man she met at a bar, and may or may not have had anything to do with it. But the truth was, the more I sunk into the sadness, the more I elevated our mythology. It was not the great love which never was. We were not star-crossed lovers. Not only had I not grown from that point, I had even regressed. Waking up with her every morning made me feel that I would lose her any time now. I was a little bit older now, but really I was still the awestruck girl in school uniform with my tie, wanting to know how I could punch above my weight because I can, and God, she's hot. But we're the cartographers of silence, which began with a lie, later snowballing into a mountain of mythology and characters with their own cliff notes and paths strewn with sad poetry, despair, and sadness. But when you throw yourself at a wall repeatedly, it's okay not to know when to stop, especially if you enjoy feeling sorry for yourself. But I had adventures to go on, and mythology was just too heavy to come along for that ride. I threw it away. I don't dream very much, but that year I had a vivid dream of a tall and slender woman with a soft voice who captivated me completely in that dream. I felt happy to be in that dream. I was a new person in that dream. I grew to be a better person with this figment of my dream in my dream. And when I awoke, I was in that dream with such a woman, barreling down the river Scrum in Borneo on a harebrained plan to see tattoos and drink moonshine with tribal elders of the tattoo artists we knew in a big city. We hit a rock, and the river rushed around us as if it wanted to have us whole. We went places without names and maps, places without maps. We are apart a lot, but she drove 200 miles to see me all the time, and we traveled tens of thousands of kilometers each time I needed to see her, which is all the time. We met in Istanbul. We made video postcards about the places we were in without each other, and we sent them to each other every other week. But eventually we decided there was time to try to steer our way home. I don't even remember what home means anymore. I had wandered 100,000 kilometers, some of it by foot, mostly by bus, train, or taxi, even by boat. But home was where she was. Some days it was London, others it was Kuala Lumpur. I found a little home that I thought I could be happy in, got a dog, and perhaps for a time we were, but it feels as far away as all my 18-year-old memories. That girl should terrify you and she should amaze you, and I agree. She was young, really young, so young that she would say things like, "Baby, when we move to our new place, let's have vintage things like CDs." She was brash, hot-headed, passionate, opinionated. In short, she was everything I wanted in a woman, but she terrified me. I don't remember how it happened. I started going to her bar. I brought a different girl with me each week, and at some point she said, "I'm tired of making you drinks, why don't you make me one instead? And you should shake the thing and slap it like it's that bitch who broke your heart." So I made her a gimlet, 1 part gin, 1 part sugar, 1 part lemon, and I slapped it. My hands hurt, so she's been my bartender ever since, and soon, maybe my wife. But I've been thinking a lot about what it means to be a lesbian in this society, and it all comes down to this, to other people. It's that I have to automatically assume that all of the following are bonuses, not expectations. Having my love recognized for purposes of property, tax, inheritance, attending a partner's family functions without unnecessary outcry or suspicion, and knowing that if I were to be in a medical emergency, she would be legally allowed to make decisions on my behalf. In other words, to even hope for a future life partner to be perceived as anything other than a complete stranger is going to be taken in other people's good faith. But as outsiders, that's all we have to go on. The goodwill of other people, the readiness of other people to stop thinking about us as criminals, sexual deviants, and perverts. If I hold hands on a woman that I love, I'm rubbing it in the conservative society's face and being too declarative about my sexual orientation. But if I walk side by side with one, the man who catcalls and makes rude comments at us bordering on sexual harassment is, after all, just being a man entitled to his opinions about my body and about his. As for someone who genuinely feels that there is absolutely nothing in the world I cannot do, All I can do is to keep on doing what I do best, which is to live my life as I know how, be kind to old people, to animals, donate to charity sometimes, avoid premature death, and sometimes dream about the day I hope to see in my lifetime, when our lovers would be our equals and our love as deserving.